Uh-oh. Yo. Hey, this is your boy Coach Shelton Harrison, guys. And just real quick before I get into the topic, guys, my channel is going to change. I'll let you guys know the location of the new channel. I'm going to use this channel primarily as a track and field channel, so I'm going to keep it. But, my other channel, I'll let you guys know about it here in the upcoming weeks, okay? Without any further ado, let's start into the topic. The title of this video is called The 5 Basic Fears of Man, and we're going to talk about this in terms of a fighter, okay? The first fear that I'm going to talk about, guys, is the fear of failure. That's right, the fear of failure, okay? And as I talk about each of these fears, I'm going to tell you how to overcome them at the end of the video. But the fear of failure, anybody listening to this, I don't care who you are, if you can hear the sound of my voice, you've been afraid to fail at something. We all have, okay? We've been afraid to not try stuff because we've been afraid that we wouldn't be successful in them, that we would fail. We've all had that, and it's happened to each and every one of us, but somehow we overcame that fear and did what we were afraid to do. Okay, I want you to think about your favorite fighter. Think about your favorite fighter and really think about, was there somebody you wanted your favorite fighter to fight that they just didn't fight? Was there a person that you wanted them to fight that they didn't fight? And your fighter probably could have been suffering with the fear of failure, because there are many of these fighters and even people in general, they are afraid to fail. And I'm talking about they won't go past go, they won't go past stop, they won't do anything because they are afraid to fail. And for what? Everybody, every great person has failed. And I know you've heard that before. I mean, think about Michael Jordan. What if Michael Jordan would have just stopped trying to play basketball after he got cut from his high school team? What if? What if he would have stopped trying? Okay, we would have never experienced the great basketball player that we know today. What if, okay? What if Bill Gates would have just not dropped out of college and started Microsoft and bought the operating system? What if, okay? What if Microsoft and all the stuff we have now wouldn't be as great? It wouldn't be what we have it as today, okay? I mean, really think about, what if these guys, they just decided, nah, I ain't doing no more, okay? The fear of failure. They fail many, many times over and over and over and over. And it's something that it happens to everybody. But you can think about, I can tell you some of your favorite fighters they got a fear of failure. And I can tell you some of your fighters who don't care about failing, okay? One fighter, I can tell you now, they got a fear of failure. That's Peter Quillen. Got a fear of failure. You see, y'all sit and think that, oh, these fighters, these promoters are really making it so that these fighters can't fight the people we want to see. Sometimes, guys, it's not even a promoter. It's the fighter himself, okay? It's him. And they just don't want to fight certain people. I can tell you now, they're sitting in the room and the promoter giving them a list of people to fight, and they turning fights down because they got a fear of losing, the fear of failure, okay? It's a fear of failure. I mean, and, don't let these fighters fool you, okay? They'll put the blame on their promoters. That's what promoters do. They always play the villain. But I tell you what, when Canelo Alvarez wanted to fight Erislandy Lara, I know when he wanted to fight Lara, guess what? He got Lara in the ring. I can tell you that much. So don't tell me, because Oscar De La Hoya begged Canelo up and down, do not fight this man. Don't fight him. Don't fight him. Why? Because Oscar De La Hoya has a fear of failure. He was scared that Canelo was going to lose. Okay, he was afraid. And Canelo won. But that goes without saying. Oscar De La Hoya has a fear of failure. Canelo really don't, because he fought. He fought Lara. He didn't have to fight Lara. He could have ducked him. He could have ducked him for a couple more years, man. But he decided to go ahead and fight him. The fear of failure. Okay? I can tell you right now, Leo Santa Cruz has a definite fear of failure. If you ever look at Leo's interviews and listen to his dad talk, they're terrified to death of Guillermo Rigondeaux. And I don't think Leo is afraid of him physically. But Leo is afraid to lose to him. Leo don't want to lose to him. And he said, I pretty much rather just, lose to one of my Mexican countrymen. He said it. He's got a fear of failure. I don't think he can be Mexican or anything, but I think that he's afraid of failing, period. He's afraid to fail, period. And there's nothing wrong with failure. But see, the problem is when you fail, it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to stay in that pit of depression when you fail. And you got to think, I think about some of these fighters, man, that they get their first real loss and they get beat, and they get beat real bad. Look at how long these guys be gone. Like, they be out of the sport for months. I'm talking about even almost up to, a year and a half. They don't fight. And it's not because really they truly, don't need the money, they do, but it's just the fear of failure. And it's really big. Leo Santa Cruz, I think he's got the biggest fear of failure in the sport of boxing. That's just my personal opinion. Okay? The fear of criticism. Listen, I don't care who you are or what you do. Somebody don't like you. But the fear of criticism. Okay? And one fighter that comes to mind who has got a definite fear of criticism is Adrian Broner. Okay? And I really picked up on that, and see, me as a coach, okay? I picked up on that when Mike Stafford was trying to tell him in his corner, Adrian, look, boy, you messing up, He was just point blank telling him, you're messing up. And he was trying to tell him what he needed to do, and he was just kind of blowing Mike off like, oh, I got it. But the guy has a definite fear of criticism. Like, he don't like being criticized because he thinks that everything he does is perfect. I mean, that guy, you can see his fear of criticism from a mile away. Okay, you can see it. And yes, he's got a fear of criticism. And if Adrian Broner doesn't really curtail that fear of criticism, meaning that he can't take the criticism, then he's going to have a very, very long career, and he's going to experience losing in a lot more way. Some criticism is good, because some people who criticize you, basically people that have your best interest, they're the ones, that's the criticism that you value. Some people, they can't really value criticism because they always think that the criticism is designed to put them in a negative light, but it's not. Okay? But some people are terrified to death, and some fighters are terrified to death of being criticized. They can't stand it. They can't stand the fact that, well, this person trying to tell me what it is I'm doing wrong. Who are they to tell me? And they get that God complex where they think they can't nobody tell them nothing. And guys, all it is a fear of criticism. That's all it is, okay? When you have a fighter, and think back to some of your fighters, think back to any fighter at all that don't listen to their corner. Or better yet, think about fighters that go out there and they're getting trained by somebody, but they go and do the same thing they've been doing. They got a fear of criticism. They don't like nobody telling them nothing, okay? Fear of criticism. Now here's the next one. This is probably one of my favorites, the fear of old age. Yeah, a lot of fighters, they have a fear of getting old. And this is why a lot of fighters, they stay in the game too long and they end up getting their head knocked off their shoulders because they don't know when to hang it up. They have a fear of getting old. They don't think that they're old. They really don't think that they're old. They think that they can still go do the same things that they can do at 21, and they'll fight till they're 51 and still think that they can go out there and do the exact same things. Like, fighters really have that more than any other sport. Because, see, they always never know when to hang up the gloves. And they always think that they can still go 5 more rounds, 10 more rounds, 12 more rounds. All of these fighters think that they can still keep going and going and going and going and going and going. Okay? They think that. But reality, look at Muhammad Ali. Okay? I mean, look at Freddie Roach, for God's sakes. Look at Freddie Roach, okay? Look at a lot of these guys that fought and got hit for so long that guys at their younger age, at their later age, the stage of their life, their health is not good. I mean, look at James Toney. I mean, guys, look at James. I mean, that's an example. Look at Floyd Sr. I mean, look at all these guys, y'all, in the sport of boxing, and their health is not. They can't talk right, guys. They got slurred speech. It's just they didn't know when to hang up the gloves. They just didn't know when. Okay, I can applaud people like Tim Bradley. He was saying that, you know what, I don't want to be boxing until I'm 40. He said, because I want to be able to communicate with my kids. I can applaud Floyd Mayweather, who said, man, after this contract over, I'm hanging it up because I still want to be sharp in my older years. I can applaud certain fighters. I can applaud Manny for saying, you know what, I'm about to retire because, dude don't want to be a vegetable, man. And, and reality sets in the older and older that you get, What does Bernard Hopkins say? He don't get hit with 3 and 4 punch combinations. That's why he's still there. That's why he can still box until the age of 50. But Bernard, he need to hang it up. After that Kovalev loss, that ought to tell you, Bernard, that you're not the same fighter you were when you were 30. You're just not. Okay? You're technically different. You don't throw as many combinations because you can't. And it's not that you don't want to. It's just your old body just don't allow you to do it, Bernard. It's time to hang up the gloves. Roy Jones Jr., man, my goodness, that's a good example of somebody who been getting pimp smacked around the ring. But Roy, just like, a lot of these fighters, they don't know when to hang it up. And so when they really do reach old age, they don't think they old. They don't think that they're too old to do it. And I applaud these guys for really thinking that they still got what it takes. But sometimes your body is telling you it's time, okay? When you know you can't make the same pivots, you know you can't counterpunch the same way, you know you can't slip punches the same way, you know when you can't see the punches coming like you did when you were 30, it's time to hang up the gloves and retire. But these guys, they got a fear of getting old. They don't want to get old. And they go out and they date these really, really, really young women. They date them young, but they've got a fear of getting old. Okay? The next fear is called the fear of bad health. That's right. Believe it or not, a lot of fighters do have this fear. And everybody on planet Earth has a fear of bad health. Nobody wants to be in bad health. I can tell you, me being a former person in bad health, I can tell you, it wasn't fun. Wasn't fun at all, okay? The fear of bad health. But I can tell you something right now, the fear of bad health can also be prevented and it can be reversed. And that'll probably be something for another topic, okay? About reversing disease. And, I did one video already. But, I mean, I can definitely tell you that bad health is a choice, okay? Fear of bad health. How many fighters do you really think avoided certain fighters because they were afraid to get hurt? Like they were afraid of their health being jeopardized. There are many, many fighters who wouldn't fight somebody because they can get bad health. Okay, many fighters. And, I won't say them all by name, but I'm just saying there are a lot of fighters. Think about a fighter, y'all, that for a fact they just wouldn't get in the ring with somebody. They just wouldn't do it because they thought that they could actually get hurt. Okay, they thought that. You see, that all plays into old age, okay? If you fight into your old age, you're going to have bad health eventually because you're going to get hit with a shot that you can't recover. You can't recover from. And that's just the way it is, okay? Like it or don't like it, that's just how it is, okay? Bad health. Nobody wants to be in bad health in the sport of boxing, and that's just in the world, period. Now, here's the last one. The last one, and many people may not agree with this one. Many people, you have a fear of death. You've got a fear of death. I don't care who you are. At some point in time in your life, you've contemplated, what would it feel like to die? We've all done that before. We've all sat back and just kind of wondered for a minute, and then you probably didn't think much else about it, The fear of death. There are some fighters, there are people on earth that you are afraid to do something because you think that it will kill you. Okay? Newsflash. Almost anything you do could possibly kill you. You can go and eat food and you can kill yourself. Okay? You could trip and fall and kill yourself. You could be sitting in a car and the car get a bump or get into a wreck. You can kill yourself. Okay? People have a fear of death. And it's real. It's real. The fear of death is realer than anything in the world. It's real. Okay? And as far as boxers are concerned, I don't think that a boxer would come out and tell you that they're afraid of dying in the ring, but that thought does enter their mind sometimes. I know when I used to fight, it sure did. Any sport you play, I tell my athletes, it's not guaranteed that you'll come out of this okay. It's a sport, and if you don't think that you are going to get hurt, then you need to stay home. And I tell them that if you don't think you're going to get hurt, you can stay home. If you don't think that there's a chance of you severely injuring yourself and even dying when you're in the weight room, doing Olympic lifts, you need to stay home. But there's a chance you could die at home. You see, people, the fear of death is something that people shouldn't even fear. And I'm going to talk about now how to overcome every last one of these fears, okay? We're going to talk about how to overcome these fears and how to get them out of your system so they never come back. First, the fear of failure. How do you overcome the fear of failure? You overcome the fear of failure with hard work. No matter how many times you fail, you keep coming back. You got to be resilient. You overcome failure with hard work. Hard work beats everything. Hard work can beat any failure that ever come against you, okay? And some of these fighters, when they fail, they don't know how to bounce back. They don't know how to get back in the ring. They don't know how to go back and start training again. They don't know how to pick it up where they left off. So they spend all these months out of the ring and they soaking and they just, be depressed and all this other stuff. That fear of failure is eating away at them, okay? Like Adrian Broner, I was really shocked how fast he really got back in the gym and really got his act together, okay? Because I really thought that it was going to be a turning point in his career. I thought that. But he has proven me wrong. Like, he's truly bounced back. and overcome the fear of failure, because he's doing that by trying to take on the toughest competition. Okay, I mean, I'm loving it. He's calling out Lucas Matisse. He called out Danny Garcia. So in his case, losing was probably the best thing for his career. I mean, actually, for Adrian Broner, losing was the best thing, because he no longer has that fear of failure. Okay, it's not overtaking him. He wants to fight the best, and he's calling out Pacquiao. He's calling out Danny Garcia. I mean, he's talking about beating up Amir Khan. I mean, the guy has really, he's exuding confidence, and that's how you overcome the fear of failure, with hard work. The fear of criticism. I've just decided at this point in this stage of my life, I could give a darn about what somebody think about me. And I know that sounds harsh, but I just don't care. Hey, people come up to me at track meets. Hey, man, that coach over there said, they shouldn't work with you. You want to know what they said? Nope. I don't even really care. But coach, man, that guy over there said something about you, man. Man, you gonna address that? Nah, I don't really care. Hey, man, that athlete over there said, man, you hard to work with. Man, what you got to say about that? Don't even care. Hey, man, that person over there, man, they over there talking mess about you. I don't care. I just absolutely don't care, because if I do, that stuff gonna control you. See, somebody gonna talk about you. I don't care if you're doing good or if you're doing wrong. Somebody gonna talk about you. It's just a matter of who talking about you and why. I don't care. I don't care, because when people talk about me, that means I'm relevant. That means that I'm giving them something to talk about, because they like something in me that they need to talk about. Okay, good. Let them talk about you, because when people criticize you and they're really, really criticizing you, and they don't mean you any good, what that means is you're on the right track. A lot of you fighters, you're on the right track. You're on the right track to being successful. You're on the right track to winning, because they're talking about you. They're talking about you. You see, people criticize. I'm talking about people who don't mean you any good intentions. People criticize you because they can't do what you do. They criticize you because they can't do what you do. So they have to criticize you to justify themselves. Okay? You don't need to have a fear of criticism. See, the only people who I accept criticism from are people that are where I want to be in life, or people who I know got my best interests. I accept criticism from them because their criticism is trying to help me be better at what I do. I take that criticism. You see, how you take criticism will actually advance you, because some people think that they just too good where they can't take criticism. They can't take it. And see, you ain't gonna never advance. And some of my boys, like Ghetto Superstar, 10 Players News, these guys they're not successful because nobody helped them. No, they were able to take a lot of criticism and decipher the BS from what's really criticism. And they took the good criticism, and that criticism helped them some point in their career. And I got to go back to Ghetto's video. Like, we feel the need to be right less and less at our age. We just don't need to be right all the time. Sometimes we're listening to a different opinion, but you're overcoming the fear of criticism. I like this. Now, the fear of old age. How do you overcome the fear of old age? You don't. You overcome the fear of old age by really acknowledging that it is something that you can't get away from. You can't get away. If you live long enough, you are going to get old. If you live on this earth long enough, you will be old. And that's just the way it is, okay? You can get all the facelifts you want. You can make your face pretty. You can do whatever you want to do, but you still going to get old, okay? I don't care if you get plastic surgery, you get a facelift, you stretch your face out like people like to do. That's cool. But you still going to get old. And you still old, okay? No matter what you do, every single day, every single minute on the hour, you are getting older. And that's just the way it is, okay? And a lot of these fighters who are beat up and punch drunk in their later years, they have not understood how to overcome the fear of old age. That's why they're still fighting. If you see a fighter who really retired, or an athlete that retired, they've conquered old age, because they know that they've done everything that they wanted to do, so they retire. And they go on and do what they're supposed to do in their later years. But you got some fighters who stay in the game. They stay in the game too long, and they just don't know when to quit. Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones, I hope you can hear this video. Why are you still fighting, Roy? Roy, you could be a Hall of Fame trainer right now, Roy Jones. You can be a Hall of Fame trainer right now. I mean, dude, you got the skill set to be one of the best trainers to ever walk the earth. But you choose to take this abuse in a boxing ring. And your mind is not as sharp as it used to be. Dude, you can use that skill set to be the best trainer that you can be. Why get in the ring? I think B-Hop probably told himself, you know what? I think it's time. Because B-Hop, you're not the same fighter you were when you were 30. And guys, I know everybody loves the Alien. And I know that it was fun watching Alien get in there and beat these young guys up. I'm talking about beat them down. It was fun. But Bernard, you're not the same guy you were when you were 30. Bernard, you're not the same guy when you was even 40. Bernard, you're not the same, dude. It's time to hang up the gloves. Bernard, I think you got a great career in commentating. I mean, Bernard, you did an excellent job, man. You did an excellent job. I think you got a great career in commentating, and I think you got to let it go. It's time. But see, these guys, they've not gotten past the fear of getting old. Okay? The fear of bad health. How to overcome the fear of bad health? You overcome bad health by a decision. Anything that you have going on in your body, you overcome it by a decision. Okay? Fighters, you can make a decision. You can make a decision to stop fighting until you're 60. You can make a decision. See, you can keep yourself in good health. You can make a decision to not eat all the bad foods that everybody else is eating. You can make that decision, fighters. That's on you. Okay? Everybody who's listening to this, you can live a lot of years on earth without having bad health. You can live many, many years on earth without having bad health. But it all comes with a decision. And this is not a health video, but men especially are afraid of bad health. People in general, you're afraid of getting into bad health. You overcome that. You overcome that by making a decision. Okay? And if you're a fighter, yeah, there's a level of risk that you're going to take jumping in the ring. Your health is in jeopardy. Every time you step foot in that ring, your health is in jeopardy. No doubt about it. Okay? But as Floyd Mayweather always says, and Bernard Hopkins always says, you're not going to hit me with 3-punch combinations because they're not going to stand there and let you just hit them. It's dumb when people say, you know, like John Molina Jr. You know, I got to say that's the dumbest idiot on the face of the earth, you know, right now. Well, Adrian Broner didn't stand there and let me hit him. Why would he do that? Why would he stand in front of you and let you punch him in the face? What does that do? Oh, well, he's a warrior. He's this and he's that. Well, you know, for goodness sakes, okay? So Adrian Broner can get the rights. He can get the glory of being this great warrior in the ring. But on alone, he's ruining his health. I think Floyd, Bernard, and Adrian, they've got a concept of, look, I don't want to be in bad health when I'm old. That's why they're good defensive fighters. That's why their defense is tight, so they don't have to take these 3, 4, and 5-punch combinations. They ain't got to take them because they're not there for them to be taken, okay? The fear of bad health. The last one is the fear of death. I don't care who you are. You have been afraid to die. But how do you overcome the fear of death? Easy. The fear of death is an inescapable event. You cannot escape death, fighters, or anybody who listens to the video. You can't escape it. If you live long enough, you will die. That's just the way it is. You will. You'll die. Okay? It's inescapable. You can't get around it. Okay? But I think a lot of fighters have not experienced a near-death experience. Okay? That's really my personal opinion. Back in 05, I did. Okay? And see, when you've experienced a near-death experience and when you have survived a near-death experience, your fears, the rest of them on this list, they tend to go away. I don't have a fear of bad health anymore. I already had that. I got good health now. I'm not afraid of getting old because I understand that getting old is a part of life and it's just going to happen. I don't really care about criticism because criticism is not worse than death. And I don't care about failing because I'd rather fail and live to tell about it and do it again than to be dead. You see, the fear of death, if you can overcome that, you overcome the rest of the fears. And I think a majority of the people don't really get that fact that if you can overcome the fear of death, you can overcome any fear. You take any of your favorite fighters, okay? And if you look at their lifestyle and how they were raised and how they grew up, you can tell if they've had near-death experiences. And you notice those fighters, they have no fear. They'll jump in there with anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I'm going to tell you one fighter that comes to mind, Ricardo Mayorga. Now, I can tell you what, Mayorga used to get his butt whooped. I'm talking about used to get his butt whooped from sea to shining sea. but he wasn't scared to get in there with any fighter. Mayorga was never afraid. He jumped in there and he was game. But the man survived, gunshots. I mean, the man survived a lot of near-death experiences. He don't have a fear of death anymore. Back in '05, I conquered my fear of death because I decided not to at the time. And that's just a decision some people you have to make. I decided not to, and I conquered that fear, and the rest of the fears, they technically go away. I don't really have a fear of failure because I've done it so much. And failure is not worse than death. I don't have a fear of criticism. You can criticize me all day, but death criticized me more than you could, okay? Old age, I'm still here to talk about it, okay? Bad health, hey, my bad health years ago didn't kill me because I took control of it and I did something about it. And the fear of death, people, it's an inescapable event. You cannot escape it. You fighters, you take a risk when you get in the ring. This is the hurt game, okay? Y'all not in there to win friends and influence people. You just not. This is the hurt game. You guys, y'all get paid to go in there and hurt. And that's just the way it is. You chose it. We didn't choose it for you. The fans, we didn't choose it for you. You can choose to get out of it. I mean, it don't matter, but that's your job. You hurt people for a living. You punch them in the face. You hit them in the stomach. You hit them in the solar plexus. That's your job, okay? Tell me what you think about the 5 fears of man. Okay, I broke it down as a coach because I'm a coach and I understand what fear is. I've seen it in athletes' faces many, many times. But also, you can overcome these 5 basic fears of man. This is Coach Shelton Harrison. I'm done.